DizzyPunch. Hello and welcome to the GM Bus Stop, where I summon people to keep me company while I wait for my bus. I'm Nick, your host for this series, and here with me today is the creator and owner of Inkblade Publishing, Elliott Hawes. Woo!
Hello, hello, thank you, and I'm very much enjoying waiting for this bus.
Yes.
Can't wait. I've got such a long journey to go that this bus will get me there.
Yeah, well, you're on a screen, my guy. All right.
It's a virtual bus, okay?
Yeah, it's virtual bus. Yeah, thank you so much for answering the call and taking the time to chat with me. You know, for the viewers at home, I sent out a message on our socials asking who we should interview next, and Elliott bravely stepped forward.
I was like, yes, volunteer. I volunteer for tribute.
Mm-hmm. The Hunger Games, right? I was trying to remember the exact.
Yeah. I've used that for many years.
Yes.
I think that did well for the volunteer community.
Yeah. It's the context of which the story that is just terrible. Yeah. it's awful. Bad. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, you know, I'm excited to talk about plagues, weapons, cosplays.
Yep. Okay, good. I love all of those.
Yeah. I hope so. It's your entire identity.
Yeah, no, I'm very, very happy to get into it. So any questions you have, hopefully I've got some pretty good answers for you.
All right. Talking about plagues, Inkblade Publishing is set to infect the world in a good way with its premier game, Gothic: A Plague Worlds. What can you tell me and the viewers about this setting?
Oh, okay. So it's a 5e compatible game, and the setting is Victorian inspired. So it's not in the real world, and it's not in Victorian era exactly, but it's heavily inspired by it's a genre that I found called gas lamp. So it's kind of like steampunk but more magical and sort of fantasy. So because steampunk is pretty well done at this point, so I was like, I don't mind if it is steampunk, but then I just found this term gas lamp, and I was like, that's cool, and I sort of like veered the game towards that, because magic is great, but it's like I wanted to introduce the industry because I just thought that was a cool era to play around with. So yeah, you've got lots of Victorian styled like outfits, but also medieval fantasy. So if you want to still be like a knight, you can. So there's like a big sort of range of what Gothica is. And I worry that some people just think it's like industrial Victorian. I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of that, but go and slay some dragons and things as well. So it's a pretty open-ended fantasy realm and genre, really.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to unpack when it comes to the Victorian era. You have the more nobility class ones where you could focus on like the romantic aspects of that time. You could also focus on the lower class of like the impoverished people who are just like in the worst positions in life and likely die at the age of like 19 if they're lucky.
Yes. Yeah. It's been really fun looking into like, I think that's the one good thing about picking a sort of historical time period for a genre or a setting, because there's so much information on it. And it's like, oh, you can study the politics, the economy, the medical history, and the procedures. And it's like, wow, like a lot of this is written for me and I just need to tweak it. So it's been fun.
Yeah, like, you know, I love to say that it's not Victorian England, essentially. It's Victorian era in which we kind of look at how the world was based during that time period as well, you know, because you also talk about not just England, but also in, I believe, Georgian as well. Aesthetics that are involved in there, which I think is very cool. A very good, interesting comparison that is made is in Nosferatu at that time, even though the main characters are kind of British traditionally, but like the setting and aesthetic is all based in Germany, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
And
I think so.
Yes.
Let's go with it. We're the only two here. So yeah, Germany.
Yeah, Germany. But like, you know, it's fascinating how everything kind of affected that, because, you know, it's also similar to how fashion is in our time period right now, where the more popular fashion is, the more other cultures will kind of like bring it into their own aesthetic. And I think that's something very interesting when we talk about the Victorian era, because a lot of cultures were inspired by England at that time, just because of how far they were in the industry and how successful they were. And they're like, listen, let's copy what they're doing, and then hopefully we'll suck less because of that.
Yeah, they look really cool. I want to look like them.
Oh shit, they got like a brochet. What?
Yeah, what? I don't even know what to say. I don't know how to say it, but I want it. It's funny you mentioned the Georgian thing, because I definitely started, because like I've been making Gothica for like a couple of years now, and it goes through the phases of like what you want it to look like. And it started originally as Georgian because I wanted to make this like a series of games. I wanted to move it forward through the time. So we were going to be like Georgian originally and then move into Victorian. But then I thought, hey, people know Victorian more than they do Georgian, especially like as an American audience. It was like, so let's just sort of cover it with Victorian. So it's like, yeah, if you wanted to have like Georgian clove, go for it. But like, I worried that people will be like, what's Georgian? Like, is it the country, the state? And I'm like, no, it's Old England, okay? So Victorian is definitely just like, it's the blanket term, which covers Old England, doesn't it? So
yeah. But that's great. You know, I also think you've introduced a lot of interesting aspects into the game itself, just by the mutations aspect as well, or the introducing of the 3 other classes. I believe it's the Chimera, the Weaver, and the Saint, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that's right.
A+.
Yes, yeah, I love that. I love that you have this research you do. It's just, you make my job really easy, because I'm like, hey, that's correct.
I just gotta stay here and just say yes to everything. All right.
Yes. Did you? I know you probably didn't get much information on them, but did you have a favorite of the 3 just by appearance based? If you saw the pictures of them.
I'm fascinated by the Weaver, to be fair. I think the Chimera, I have a general idea of like, so this is kind of similar to how a sorcerer would be, because it's more of like your internal self. And I imagine it'll be like constitution based and whatever, which I've always hoped that the sorcerer would be constitution based, but that's another story altogether. But I'm fascinated by the Weaver more in the aspect of, I'm assuming that they're a people that can imbue items with magic, and it's different from artificers where they use their science to use magic as an energy source to create like magical effects. But I always thought it was very interesting to have people who are able to imbue like curses or like make things appear into objects. Like, you know, not these days, but like in our culture, we've always established that like certain things have magical properties to it, but they were never really involved with science in that aspect. You know, like for example, the doll Annabelle, we've kind of like established that this is a cursed doll, and there's like some like magical property behind, evil magical property, whatever you want to say, behind it. So I always felt like that was an avenue not taken.
Definitely, to be fair, like, I think that's kind of the whole thing that I've been really enjoying, and probably why I chose like a Victorian setting as well, because like science is so prevalent, because you get like old fantasy and you kind of rely on like the sort of divine magic and then like the arcane, and then there isn't really much else. There's like faith and magic, whereas like you bring it forward into like a Victorian era and then you have science, and it's like, ooh, industry. And then like the crossover between industry and magic is like, oh, there's so much room to do stuff there. And I'm not the first person to do that, obviously. Like steampunk and everything, it sort of has that, but in a D&D sense, like I've played a lot of games where it's like traditional fantasy, like the high fantasy, and I'm like, I always try and make them into dark fantasy. And then I was like, cool, let me have a look at the 5e sort of Dungeon Master's Guidebook for diseases, and there's like 1 page, and I'm like, oh. I'm like, really? I thought there'd be loads, like 400 pages long, and there's 1 page of like diseases. I'm like, oh, okay. So then I was like, maybe I could make some diseases. And then like,
no one clip that. No one clip that.
Yes, vials and poisons. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if COVID had like a massive effect on me, because obviously like I kind of started this after COVID, and it was like, I don't know if people are going to be like kind of sick of the idea of like a world full of like a lockdown plague style thing. But obviously like we've moved so far and I've taken so long to write it. I'm like, oh, I guess people will forget by now about COVID. It's like, it's okay.
our future generations will be like, what was the worst thing that happened to you? Well, there's a thing called COVID.
Yeah. Like, what? We all got to sit inside for 2 years. It was the best.
But yeah, it is very fascinating, and I feel like, it's funny. I recently realized that as a storyteller, you have to be a little selfish. You have to focus on what you want to see, not what everyone else expects. And that's what makes it your story. Listening to your kind of breakdown of Gothica, I think what makes the game so special is that you built it around things that you wanted to see in games that hadn't been done before, and now you're kind of just sharing that vision with everyone around the world, and that's just beautiful.
I appreciate that. That's kind of it. I think the thing is, like, as a DM especially, you sort of create these games that you want to play, and then, like, when there's gaps, like, because every D&D game I've ever played was like, I never used like a source material. It was always my sort of creation. And that's just the way I like doing it. 'Cause it's like, I'd rather play something that I've made and that my players can feel like, oh, this is totally new. No one's ever played this before. And so, like, you add that element into like creating an entirely different book, and then it's like, oh, like, this is like that fun of creating the D&D game, but then times like 100, because it's like, oh, I get to make everything, like the whole world, and then the setting, and then new classes, new spells, and it's like, whoa, I was kind of doing this like on a minor scale for the games, but now it's like making it official, so it's like, whoa, this is super fun. It's tiring, and it's a lot more like, oh, I never actually get to play games anymore because I'm just so busy writing, but it's definitely a lot more entertaining for me to put together, and from what people have seen, people really enjoy it, so that's like, you get that sort of satisfaction when you finally get to show someone, you're like, oh, what do you think? And they're like, this is cool. Like, sweet. This is months of work. So yeah, I'm glad you think it's good.
Yeah, that's great. And I've also loved the fact that you've made this project very collaborative as well, because you kind of get your followers involved in like the decision making, on your socials and Discord. I remember but you still have like control over it, which is nice, because I remember.
Yeah, I know what you were going to say.
you did a post where it's like, hey, should I name this or this? And it was very split down the middle. And the one that was like, unanimously chosen on Instagram was like, oh yeah, that's good. But I think I'll go for the other one though. Thanks though.
Yeah, it was like I think it was like a 56-40% sort of thing. And I was like, oh, I actually kind of prefer the one that had slightly less. But it was good. Like, feedback is really good, because like when you work on a project solo, it's like what you think is really cool. And you can kind of convince yourself when you work on something for so long that this is the best way to do it. And then when you show someone and they're like, as long as they're not like a yes man, like if they have a bit of honesty to them, they're like, yeah, this is good, but, and you're like, but what do you mean? Like, this is perfect, right? And they're like, maybe you should change this little thing. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can kind of see where you're coming from now. So when you have like a following, and if you think, if you believe them, and if you want to have like sort of an honest opinion, I think random people on the internet will always tell you like their real opinion, because like friends will try and be nice to you, and it's like, no, get random people, because they don't care if they hurt your feelings. So it can be scary to sort of give people that ability to crush you, but sometimes it works.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the criticism of like people behind laptops is ever so cruel but necessary at times, but I also believe it's so valuable to have like an outside perspective of things. When I work on artwork, or when I'm doing like, for example, I did like a tiny little animation for a project we're doing, and then I worked at it for literally 2 days in a row. Like, this one shot, it was just 2 days of just nonstop of me like adjusting things manually, making sure everything works. And then at a certain point, I was like, this looks like shit. I think this looks like shit, just because I've been working on this thing for so long. And I sent it to the group chat, and I was like, guys, please tell me if this is shit or not, because I can't, it's been so long, I can't tell.
And was it good? Did they like it?
Apparently it was smooth. Apparently.
Ah, there you go.
I don't know, but it's so nice to also just have people comment that, what you're giving some affirmation of, like, yeah, you're on the right track of things, so that's great. And I
think that helps as well. Like you say, you can get feedback, but you can also just get that affirmation. But like, what do you think? Like, if you're a little bit unsure, because sometimes like the brains of many people can come up with one idea that's like so much better. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm happy to take that on board. Or they could just turn around and say, yeah, this is good. And then you can get that like confidence back. You're like, okay, maybe I'm doing the right thing. Because sometimes when you're solo working, you can really drift off into like the dark corner and be like, oh, I don't know if any of this is good anymore. And then it takes that one friend to be like, no, this is cool, keep going. And you're like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not doing so bad.
Right. I have that one friend who, if I usually give them a script or a project or anything, I give it to them, and they will break me down incessantly. They will not be kind about like, listen, this is shit. I don't understand why you're doing this. And if there's a point where I can just make them like silent, I've known that I've won in some way. Like no affirmation needed. As long as you're not saying anything, I know that.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Wow, a good friend to have.
Yeah, you gotta have someone to just tell you that you're a piece of shit sometimes. That's the best friend you can have.
I like it a lot.
Yeah. Another thing I really value in Gothica is that on your amazing website, you've written in very bold print that any artwork shown in the game will always be made by human beings.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's such a valued thing right now. I wish it wasn't a valued thing to have to say to people these days, but I do think, a lot of, and as AI has become more the norm now, I do think it's sad for like up and coming artists not to be able to show their work. And I know that a lot of the people who already posted on the website has like such great character design, the illustrations. I have their names down. Hopefully I can pronounce them correctly.
Yeah, give it a go.
Nikita Capitanovo.
Oh yeah, I mean you said the second name better than I ever would. So yeah, I just call him Nikita. He's a great guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Rio Lint and Chris Anka.
Yep.
All of them great stuff. Oh my goodness, beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a couple of others. There's Daisy now, who's puppet something. Let me grab hers before I forget. She's kind of the new prop artist. So I want to give her props for her props, as it were. Before I forget. But yeah, they've all been fantastic, and it's like finding those people who are like also interested in the product and in the sort of project. And it's like a lot of people who are like, oh, I play D&D, and it's like, then you're gonna love what I'm doing, hopefully. And then they, I tell them what I'm doing, they're like, really, can I work on it? Like, yeah. So it's Daisy or T at pastel.puppet on Instagram as well. Yeah, but I can give you some links if you like for everyone.
No problem. So. I'll put them in the podcasts, and I'll put them on the
down the bottom somewhere.
Down the bottom screen. I typically also do editing pops where they kind of pop up on screen, but
fancy.
Also, Prima Ziao from
yes,
Bard Soup also did a lot of great little character work for your Instagram, which is great.
Yep. Yeah, the Poxley mascot, which. Like, I had a fun idea for that because it was mainly, again, just for like a social media presence, because it's tiring to keep trying to think of new reels and new things to like post about yourself or post about the game. And like, you don't want to post all of the artwork because you want to keep some of it secret for people who buy the book. And then like, you don't want to keep, every piece of information as well. You don't want to give all that out there. So I was like, what's like fun little question times and things I can do, but I kind of want to have some graphic. So then I had the idea of like a Plague Dr. Crow character, and I messaged Prima about it because she has like that fun sort of cartoonish art style, and we just like workshopped something together, and she's been amazing. And it's also all of like the half like ones where it's just like the torso up, they're all like emojis for the Discord as well. So it's like, it's been super, super fun.
The birth of a mascot.
It really went down well. I was like, I thought people would like him, but people were like, oh my God, like they've taken to him so quickly. I'm like, oh, I wish you guys like Gothica this much. I'm like, people going crazy over the mascot. I thought this was like a side thing. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. I guess he's going to feature more than I thought.
Sometimes let people focus on the wrong things, but you got to roll with the punches.
Yeah, it's difficult to get some people online to focus on like what you want, but then like I try and picture myself like scrolling through my phone, and I'm like, I don't stop for a lot of things. Like, you give everything like a second or 2 seconds, and then if it doesn't interest you, you go to the next thing. So it's like, wow, like you're up against like millions of other people and content, and it's like a cute little parrot doctor. Crow doctor. It's like, I'll stay around for that. So yeah, interesting.
You come for the game, but you stay for the mascot.
As long as they stay, I don't care.
But yeah, your social media is great. Honestly, you have a lot of times where you do skits, you answer questions, you have great posts on cosplays. We'll get to that later on in in the interview. But for the first time ever on this channel, we have a new section referred to the games.
Oh, the games.
The games.
I'm ready to play the games.
All right. I've heard from a mutual friend that you have a love for anime, so I thought we could play a fun multi-choice game.
Okay.
I'm gonna read this prompt to you multiple times, so don't worry about it. If you have any other questions, I'll be happy to say it. Here we go.
I'm ready.
Which of these series is not based in the Victorian era? I'll say this again. Which of these series is not based in the Victorian era? JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Rurouni Kenshin, Hellsing, Black Butler. I'll say this again. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Rurouni Kenshin, Hellsing, and Black Butler.
Okay, so I know original JoJo, I'm pretty sure, was Victorian. Hellsing, I think I've seen, but a long time ago. Black Butler, haven't seen, but I know they wear like pretty like Victorian-esque clothes, but that could also just be butler clothes. And then the second one, what was the second choice again?
Rurouni Kenshin.
Rurouni Kenshin. Was it Victorian but in Japan? I don't know. I'm gonna go Black Butler. That might be a really bad choice.
All right, I'll go down the list. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, specifically Phantom Blood, which is not the original, but it's kind of the later remix of the chapters. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is, as indicated, very bizarre stories revolving around the Joestar families. It's literally like each story revolves around like a new member of the Joestar family, and they always have a J in their name. They have the last name JoJo. Joestar, and then that's kind of the continuation. And it's I can't explain it for you, but I'm not that into it to be able to. So that part of the series is based in Victorian England. Rurouni Kenshin is based in the Meiji era, and the Meiji era shares a bit of the Victorian era.
Okay.
So, and it's also very interesting because when we were talking about clothing and how like other countries were inspired by it, Japan's like industrialism during the Meiji era was very much inspired by England at that time. So, you think about the train systems, you think about like the clothing as well. Like military was very much like copying that aesthetic as well. So you see that bit in Rurouni Kenshin as well, kind of like because it is the whole point of Rurouni Kenshin is kind of talking about kind of the end of like the samurai era, the end of like casual violence in a sense.
Sure.
But yeah, that's something familiar. And then Hellsing is based in England, but in the 1990s to the 2000s.
No, he looks so Victorian though.
Yes, he's a fucking vampire. His name's Alucard. And Black Butler, even though has a fucking chainsaw in the series and is very like weird in its own sense, is based in the Victorian era. My apologies.
Damn you, Black Butler fans. I'm blaming them. They didn't make the anime, but I'm blaming them. Oh.
I'm so glad that like you knew nothing about any of these series. This was more entertaining if you were like, if you had like a general, if you had like, oh yeah, I watched all these before, I know exactly which one. It'd be a very short game. But
no, it was a pretty sort of wild shot in the dark. I remember JoJo, like the original, because that was like my favorite. Like Jonathan Joestar was my favorite of the Joestars, which is a bit of a hot take because people not like him, but it's not his favorite. Or not their favorite, but yeah, the others I was like, oh man, I don't know. So yeah, damn.
Yeah.
Does the podcast stop now? Is that how it works?
Well, you now owe me 1,000 quid.
I get it wrong. Damn.
This is reverse Jeopardy. You owe me money now.
I need to integrate that into my. Oh man.
All right. Would you like to have another question?
I'm ready. I'm
All
ready.
right,
I want to
this is-
redeem myself.
Some people will say this is subjective. I don't think this is subjective. Who would win in a fight? Golden Dimple from Mob Psycho 100 or Dracula from Castlevania?
What a combo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Golden Dimple.
Now, if anyone says Dracula,
Is that?
they're mistaken. Golden Dimple wins this no diff.
Damn right.
Yes, damn right.
Yeah, I feel like Dracula gets beaten kind of easy. Like he's always like, I don't know, in any adaptation, he's always kind of like the brooding, superpower, omnipotent thing, but he always kind of just gets beaten by like a stake in the heart or some holy water, and it's like, I don't know, Golden Dimple is just kind of badass. You wouldn't catch him lacking like that.
No, man, he destroyed an entire broccoli tree the size of the earth. You ain't stopping him.
No, I think he's got this.
Yeah, but I also think the thing against Dracula is that he dies a lot in Castlevania games as well as in the series. He's like, his whole thing is like, I remember watching, I literally watched a death battle of like recapping all of his powers and abilities from the series and the games. And it's like, Boomstick was like, he dies a lot in the games, but every 100 years he comes back. And it's like, so he's died multiple times and he comes back every 100 years.
Yeah, so, it's not really that impressive, is it?
No, it's not.
His power is dying and regenerating. Yeah. It's like, okay.
Yeah, well, Dimple died as well, and he was still alive.
See?
Yeah.
It's all about who can regenerate faster.
Yeah. I just can't wait. I'd love to see that animated. Just like Dimple fighting kind of like as All Might. Just fucking, it would be similar to like All Might versus All for One a bit, I think. In that
yeah, I'm wanting like an all-star gold fight now, like a Golden Dimple versus a Golden Freezer. Like I don't know, Piccolo's like, he had like the orange gold version. Yeah, I'm sure what that was, but you throw him in there as well.
Yeah. We put all the gold people in one place to see who is the most gold.
Like Hot Shot or someone from the Haiku Shiku from Gundam, like
But Dio from fucking JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, we put him in there.
Yeah, definitely.
The gold.
He's just like messing about with people, like time sort of moving them around. It's like Dio's just like, he's like, no, this would be hilarious, guys.
Yeah. I'm not touching Dragon Ball power scaling though. Fuck that.
No.
No.
I was worried when you said who could beat, because like,
Who would win, Superman or Goku?
Oh dear.
No.
There's no right answer. Everyone will be annoyed.
True. But I would say that if Goku can't breathe in space and Superman can breathe in space, then it's pretty fucking obvious what Superman needs to do in this scenario.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That is true.
I'm not about power scaling. I'm just here about, I don't care about who's the most powerful. I care about what's the most interesting fight. And you have to understand, whenever you watch fight sports, that's the crux of what fight sports try to do. They don't care about who's the strongest. They care about what's the most entertaining matchups that they can make and what stories they can sell. And this is a story you can definitely sell. Dimple versus Dracula. Damn.
I'm curious now. Yeah, that's very good.
Death battle. Get on it. Animate it. All right. As you can see by my side, I have a magical vending machine which can summon any drink or snack at my disposal. What is your go-to snack or drink for Dungeons and Dragons or any RPG?
Because I'm the DM, I normally don't really get a chance to snack. I would say for drink, coffee, because you gotta be perky, you want to be alert. The players are always throwing something at you, and you want to be ready for it. That's what I've been drinking through this pod as well. It just keeps me going. Food wise, I feel like damn, some form of pizza would be pretty good if I was gonna commit, because it's like, it's soft. And if you suddenly need to talk into a microphone, or if you're doing it in person, you're not crunching everywhere. And like, yeah, they could be greasy, but if you have like a couple of napkins ready, you're clean. You can touch the minis. I'm gonna go for like a chicken and mozzarella and spinach pizza or something. If you wanted ingredients.
I wasn't asking, but sure, yeah, go ahead.
Well, now you know.
Yeah, now we know. The more you know. But yeah, you know, pizza's a great option. I think very hands-on approach. You don't have to use a fork and knife if you want.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Just go wow,
eat it right out the box.
Not as much of an issue as a burger where it's like all the guts come out.
Oh, the mayo, the relish.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, pizza and coffee. Probably not a good combo, but I'd maybe have like the pizza first, then the coffee.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sushi
I used to have like, oh, nice, yeah. I used to have like maybe wine or whiskey, but then I'd find like, because D&D games go on for so long, like, and whiskey can be pretty easy to drink, like after the 3 hours, I'm like, whoa, what's happening? Like, whoa, who's the DM here? Oh, me? Okay, yeah, it's your turn. Go for it. I was like, oh, I need to stop that because it's not very professional anymore.
Yeah.
And that was okay for the home games because everyone was like a little bit tipsy by the end. But when you're trying to record a game, you're like, whoa, I need to, what's happening? So yeah, keep it straight with coffee now.
Yeah, gotta keep it tight. I feel like the funny thing is about every time I ask people about this question, it's always like during like record sessions, we tried not to do anything, eat anything, do anything. So it does always have to come to the point of like, you know, what your home games are more like.
Yeah, for sure.
Even though we've had a lot of great reactions so far. We had one people be like, I did a 2-person interview one point. And it was like, what do you like to drink? I like to drink warm water. And then, just water that's warm. I was like, okay, sure. What do you like? Second person interview. What do you like to drink? I like to drink cold water. So we had a fun little.
It's like the two guards at the gate. Yeah. It's like, I can lie, but I tell the truth. You know, one of us lies, one of us tells the truth. One of us drinks cold water, one of us drinks warm water.
And you can tell by the sound of my voice.
Yeah, mine's soft and subtle because of the warm water. Mine's cold and crisp. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Warm water. That's something different.
During these times, I also like to talk about health facts because we all need to be more healthier in our lives. I'd like to talk about a bit of a fallacy that comes with healthy food, popcorn. Popcorn, universally agreed upon that it's healthy, it's nice, it's good for you. Kind of true, but not in the full extent, unfortunately. So, for example, movie theater popcorn often has so much artificial flavoring, like it's unfortunately very bad for you, like 1,200 calories for a single tub.
Wow.
As well as like the bags of popcorn you would get at supermarkets, where they're typically filled with trans fats and conservatives in order to make the packaging last longer, which is unfortunate. But in reality, popcorn can be healthy as long as you cook it in the right way. And if you're able to get the proper corn kettles needed to do so. My suggestion for cooking it would be either getting a very I don't say what's a healthy way of saying this. Getting
steam it.
Well, getting an oil that's not sunflower oil, which is unfortunately that's not that's very much filled with fats. Unfortunately, sure. If you get something that's extra virgin olive oil or coconut oil or avocado oil, those are very good substitutions, which work very well. If you use like at least 1 to 2 tablespoons in a pot, put your kettles in and heat that up, you'll have a nice ready snack for you. And in terms of flavoring you can add, actually, this is new to me as I did a little bit more research on what flavorings you could add. Apparently, if you add nutritional yeast to popcorn, you have a cheesy effect that happens. So it's almost like, yeah, it's very interesting. I never really thought about it, but it makes sense, I suppose. You can, classic combination is smoked paprika or chili powder on top of them. Ooh, if you want a little spice. If you want something a little sweet, you can add cinnamon and cocoa powder on top of them, which I think is a very nice alternative to like butter or maybe honey, or I saw maple syrup at one point. And I was like, what? No, it's sticky.
No, I'm a big cinnamon guy, so I've never thought about that. And we've done popcorn at home a few times just from like a bag, but obviously like that's probably like slightly healthier than like cinema popcorn, but cinnamon on the popcorn is kind of opening my eyes a little bit. That's
get that kick
interesting. I like those sort of Christmas spices. They always like appeal to me, no matter what time of year. I just feel like they always feel good to eat, and I don't know why. It's just like it feels like so much more of a treat. It's like cinnamon and like I can't remember any others. There are other Christmassy spices.
There are others. Vanilla is a common one. Pumpkin spice, kind of.
Oh yes. To be fair, any end of year spices. Halloween onward, and then January no more spices.
You're one of those people that like I live for the end of the year. That is my time of year.
I really do. It's just got hot again today. Like, I'm so fed up with it. I want cold. I want dark and dreary. Give me moody skies. I want my grey England back. Come on.
No.
I don't want to see the sun and the sky. Give me clouds, overcast, rain. Let me eat my popcorn in the dark.
Well, I can agree with you. It's so hot right now. I swear. I've had to turn off all air conditioning because that unfortunately makes noise. So I'm sweating in my chair at this moment, which is not great. But I agree.
It happens.
I agree with the sentiment. Yes. Last little bit of powder that you can add to it as well. If you have garlic powder with Italian herbs or lemon zest as well, that makes a very interesting taste.
Ooh.
Yes. I also just like smoked paprika with a bit of garlic powder on top of that. That's very that's very nice.
That's nice.
Great seasoning.
I'll put paprika on everything as well, to be fair. It's just one of those like flavor enhancers. It's like, yes, more paprika.
I do the same thing with Parmesan. I just add Parmesan to fucking everything.
Yes. I hate when they're in the restaurant and it's like, say when. I'm like, like the social like part of me knows when to say when, but that's not the part that I would stop at home, because it's like, oh yeah, that's fine, thank you. And I was like, I want twice that, if not 3 times. Come on, man. You feel obliged because they're waiting and they greet so slowly. I'm like, faster, more.
No.
Fill the plate, cheese it up.
No, the nice thing about Italy is that they give you a bowl of Parmesan and they leave it at your table and you're like, take as much as you like. And and that's so appreciated.
I bet that's good Parmesan as well.
It is. Parmigiano Reggiano.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Hey, listen to that guy. He knows his stuff.
Yes, it's funny how you were confused. Like, wait, aren't you American? What?
Yeah, I was just like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
You like drop the Italian time zone on me. Like, what? What do you mean? What? You're not from Kansas City? Yeah, that really threw me. And I was like, okay.
Throws a lot.
Guy's got a
off.
VPN.
I ain't got the cash for a VPN. Unless some service would like to sponsor me, go ahead.
Well, this sounds like a good little opportunity.
Today we're sponsored by Surfshark. I don't even know if they are VPN. But yeah,
there's somewhere.
Yeah, what were we talking about? That's an interesting question.
We were on popcorn.
We were on popcorn. We talked about Parmesan, and then we veered off to VPN.
Yeah, that's the natural progression, isn't it? Though. No, it's always the way.
Yeah. Oh, this is my point. I was trying to. there's my train. People are typically very surprised when, like, at the end of interviews, it's very funny where it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to bed now. Oh yeah, where are you from? I'm like, I'm in England. I'm in Italy right now. And they're like, oh wait, that's like 2-3 a.m. right now. Well, yup.
Wow, you're committed.
Yeah. It's when you want to interview people in the States, it's unfortunate that like the time zone is very, very bleak.
But yeah, I run Quick I Need a Game, which is the podcast I do with Alan from We Open With, and he's over in like the east side of America. So we have to do some funny time stuff because sometimes we have guests from Europe, sometimes we have guests from America, but it doesn't matter because like the two hosts are like England and American, so like we always have to be like cautious of what time we're doing it. we kind of really only record on the weekends because of that reason, really. But we are finding a way to make it work. And of course, if you would like to come on, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, I'd love to come on, man. Anyone who says like, would you like to do something? I'm like, yeah, sure, yeah, yes, yes. Take me.
It's always yes. It's like when you asked for like people, and I was like, I'm gonna shoot my shot because I like podcasts and talking.
I like being interviewed and appreciated for my work.
Yep. As many times as people can ask me the same things about Gothica, I'll answer them.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Whew, I'm glad. I tried to make this fun at the very least. Speaking of fun, segue. On your social medias, you often post collaborations with cosplay artists portraying their original characters in the Gothica game. What is the first cosplay that comes to mind when you think about all the collabs that you've done?
Oh my god. Put me on the spot. Okay, there's one that was a Spirit Born. It was fairly early on. I can't remember the actual name of the person, but I'll grab them now. But they came out so strong because it was like, as they were coming in, I didn't know really what to expect because I kind of asked people to just do like closet cosplay, like from, just whatever you have at home. If it's slightly Gothic, if it's slightly Victorian, stick it on, pretend to be a character. But so many people got involved with it and like, oh, I want to do this. I have full cosplays and do all this stuff. I'm like, whoa, okay. But it's from Sosukoku. There's a couple of O's and U's in there that make it hard to say. But she did a fantastic, like, really gloomy, white-faced, white-eyed, like almost like bride-esque with like a veil. And it was like a single candle. And it was just super, super spooky and ghostly. And I was like, whoa. We've had some incredible people like just appear and be like, hey, can I do this? I'm like, yeah, okay. Like people with like hundreds of thousand followers. And I'm like, oh, whoa. Like, why do you want to do this? But yeah, I mean, I appreciate literally anyone because some people have said like, oh, I only have like 100 followers. Can I do it? I'm like, yeah, of course you can. Like, there's no limit. And I just appreciate, like, even as a person, like, I love seeing people get involved to create something that they've written, like, from my writing, because it's like, oh, you're interested in the stuff I create enough to create something from yourself. Like, that's the kind of the beauty of the TTRPG world of, like, it's that creative space. And, like, the idea that once I get the book out there, people will create their own world. So this was kind of like a little bit of like a, I don't know, like a premonition of, but like the pre-show of what will happen hopefully in like the years to come, where I get to hear about people's games and like maybe get to see a few if people record them and run like podcasts. So like this has been incredible. So yeah, I very much appreciate everyone that's bothered to want to be involved.
Yeah.
100%.
No, it's amazing. And it's like you said, it's incredible to see so many people who are passionate. I think like the TTRPG community is some of the most passionate people in the world, truly, as like a fan base, like people who will go out of their way to do something incredible, like fully cosplaying or even like creating like a masterful artwork of a game that some people haven't even heard of. It's just it's a beautiful space to be in, really.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it's just crazy because like obviously a lot of the artwork references that I gave these people as well were from Rio, who's one of the obviously the character artists for the whole game, really. And they were like complimenting the artwork so much, and I was like, well, I'm glad you like it because it's going in the book, and like that means like hopefully you'll like what the rest of the stuff that's in there. But yeah, so many people were like, oh my god, this just gives me so many ideas to make characters, and I was like, that's so cool, because if you want to make a cosplay of it, I can only sort of almost imagine how many people want to make like just D&D characters, because it's so much easier to just whip up a character sheet. But these people have gone like the next level of made costumes or put things together. So it's like, I cannot wait to hear people's stories and stuff and like their characters that they create. So yeah, very exciting for to be a creator for this.
Yeah. The feeling of giving the spark of inspiration must be great.
For sure. And it was kind of like, it was one of those posts that you just make like on a Sunday evening and just upload it. And then like, for some reason, that was the one Instagram decided to show like everyone. And it's like, oh, okay. And I've had like some major accounts message me like, and I'm like, yeah. And you still feel really small. And then someone really big messages you, what's happening? What's happening? The internet is happening. Things are happening. Like, accounts that you've seen before just through scrolling. I'm like, yeah, but you're like famous. You're Instagram famous. Why are you talking to me? So yeah, it's crazy. Feral Workshop is one who makes like incredible costumes for other people. And she like reached out, or maybe I reached out to her, but she like had commented on the post. She had like interacted, and I was like, let me slide into those DMs, and she was like super keen and wanted to do it. And I was like, oh. So yeah, it's even crazy to like just talk to some of these people that are like genuine sort of content creators and like very avid internet users. And I'm like, whoa, like if I keep doing this, people might find the game and play it.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like if you ever go to a con, your first thing that you should do is cosplay as like your first ever character in this campaign.
Oh, that's so good. I had like the UKGE, which was like the 3 days of like gaming conventions, the biggest one in the UK. And for one day I did like a half cosplay. So I sort of like stuck on some like cheap Amazon fantasy clothes, and people loved it, honestly. So I think if I do it next year, I'm going to do like all 3 days as like separate outfits. And I've been planning like my own cosplay because I feel like everyone's done such a good job. I want to join in now. So, and I want to try and make mine like quite special because I'm the creator. So it has to be good.
Yeah. Oh man. The idea that the spark of things that occur of like, you know, when someone sees someone doing a cosplay of your work and putting the effort into it, other people will be inspired by doing that. And then that kind of like the domino effect of people just wanting to continue to work is just such a smart way of, you know, getting the game out there before it's even published, which is amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of the whole point of the social media. And it sometimes feels really tiring. And I was talking to one of their cosplayers, Renegade Misfit, because she's got like a smaller following, but so loyal. And I'm like, hey, how do you do that? Because it's like, I have like 5 times the followers, but I have like 5 times less interaction. And she's just like, oh, I'm really friendly and interact with everyone. I'm like, I thought I was doing that, but I guess it's not as good. So I'm like, wow. So really like it shows, because she said like, she's made a lot of followers and friends and fans from going to these conventions and being in person. And I thought, you know, when a world is so online, that sort of face-to-face communication and connection is really valuable. And I met a lot of people at the UKG who were just totally random. And then after 5 minutes of conversation, you know, I felt like I knew them. They would add me, or they've followed the account on Instagram, and we sort of continued to chat. And it's like, oh, you make friends just by having a quick chat about a hobby that you can sort of enjoy together. And especially with like D&D, it's such a collaborative thing, because like, you know, you normally have a party of 4 or 5, everyone comes together to play one game. You can do that hopefully weekly or fortnightly if the stars align. But yeah, it's been really fun. It's such a fun little community, and it seems really friendly. Like it doesn't seem to be like too much drama, which is, I feel like most communities have some level of drama, but the TTRPG one is pretty calm, which has been nice.
Yeah, you know, it's a very social platform just because of like it requires people to be, you know, acting or like improvising and just building connections with people. It's very fascinating, and I think it's very hard for people to like fake something or fake yourself in these kind of scenarios, because everything you do, you put your heart and your sleeve onto things. You know, even as I think as a GM. Things are very prevalent on like how you think, just because the people see the world that you're creating, and that really just open up the mind of like who you are, of like what and how you're able to understand like character arcs and like mini characters, and like how you even introduce villains or antagonists to a story, whether or not you make them sympathetic or you just make them very just make them very give me your money type of.
I was gonna say evil, but give me your money is good. Yeah.
But yeah, no,
so good.
It's so interestingly layered, because I wouldn't say it's divided, but there are so many ways of like in which people approach this as well. Because I think improvisers approach this type of community in the sense of like they try to bring comedy into their sketches, as well as try to create the story within the setting more focused on that, like the role playing, and more focused on that rather than the combat. And you see that a lot with shows like I think Dimension 20, there's very combat based stuff. I'm not gonna lie, but there are some campaigns where it's like less about that. But
Definitely, I think that was one thing I aimed to do a little bit of Gothica as well, is try and like add stuff outside of combat, because D&D's like combat base is pretty strong.
Yes.
Like there's RPGs out there that, you know, they have strengths in other aspects, but I think D&D's combat is pretty good. And so like a lot of the spells I'm working on can be used outside of combat, which is again nothing new, but I feel like it adds a lot of layers to like the role play sense. And because like Gothica has that sort of very strong, you're either kind of good or you're kind of bad. Like there is a little bit of an in between, but it's most people are either on like the holy side or the unholy. And like the whole sort of system that people believe in is that balance. So to sit in the middle, it's like, no, you have to have like equal numbers on each end of a scale. And like the more people that sit in the middle, it gets confusing, because we need that binary system of 100 people who are bad, 100 people who are good. So like, I feel like you can play a lot more into that, because like, I feel like alignment has kind of gone out the window a little bit with D&D. So I've changed that to something called sanctity, and that's kind of like, that plays more of a role in your game, which some people don't like, but you know, it's not for everyone. Because people see it as alignment, and it's like, no, you can't tell me how to play. Like I should be able to swap between making good decisions and bad decisions on the scenario, which is totally fair. But I feel like the world I want to create is a bit more of a binary, like, hey, you are good or you are bad. But you can still be a nice baddie or a bad goodie. But yeah, I think there's a lot of fun to it. And it's been fun to play around with something that exists already, because originally Gothica was like a standalone game, but that's a lot more work. And, you know, you sort of reduce your audience by however many millions when you say, hey, I've made a game and you've never heard of it before and it's a whole new system, so get ready to read 300 pages. And you're like, nah. Whereas if you say, hey, this is D&D, so the 300 pages are all added on to the system you already know, and they go, oh, yeah, that's okay. Everyone over the age of 40 is like, nah, because they've played like the older edition of D&D, and they're like, no, I don't play that 5e stuff. And it's like, oh, okay.
These damn kids out there, I don't know what they're talking about. I used to play with just 2e. Now I got 5 or 6. But yeah, you know, when it comes to like Dungeons and Dragons or Fight or whatever module systems we talk about, I think the value of it is that, yes, it's not perfect, but it's what it is. It's malleable. You know, we can change things as much as we want to affect the type of games we want to play. And, you know, whatever system you use is indicative to whatever game you want to play, is in my opinion. For example, I was watching a new series of Tales Unwritten, which is a TTRPG made by the Team 4-Star crew, which you probably don't know, but it's fun.
I don't know. Yeah. Sounds good. 4 stars. They've nearly got their 5th star, hopefully.
But in the second season of their campaign, they introduced this new fighting mechanic where they've removed the attack phase and combined it with the damage phase. So, for example, you roll your damage, and if your opponent's threshold is above a certain point, then you hit and the damage is already there. So with the aims of like trying to reduce time in combat, this new way of attacking or using dice is kind of changed the way they play the game, just because they're not so heavily focused on like, we don't want to spend hours just rolling dice to like, you hit, you roll damage. And so I like the streamlining of systems, because like you can get into the nitty gritty and hardcore rules, but I want the gameplay to be smooth and quick, because like I want lots of decisions, but I also want to like have a clear decision. And if I make that decision, I then don't want to have to sit there and roll like multiples of dice, unless it's like multiple dice for a damage. Yeah. Where it's like you're ticking off the boxes, and it's like, does it hit? Okay. Does it do this? Okay. Finally hit damage. Right. My turn's over. And it's like, wow, we rolled a lot for one turn. It's something really good to consider. And I think that's what's great about, well, TTRPGs as a whole, is the fact that we can change the way they work for each game and what we want to achieve and what we want to do. I think I had a discussion with Kylie Rose from Dicescape about how systems functions and ways for us to properly tell the stories we want to tell. And I think Kylie really resonated with that just because they often just change their systems willy-nilly wherever they want.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it. Learning too many systems. Yeah.
No, but as well as like there are faults in Dungeons and Dragons, unfortunately. I recalled the hide action in itself is that you use the hide action and you are hidden, right? But like applying that in like a role-playing scenario where it's like there's no cover, there's nothing you can do to like what are you doing here? And then we are like, okay, we're gonna have to like fix this as flavoring, so you just explode. That's what happens.
You just dissipate into mist. It's fine.
No, what's funny thing is that this character was a plasmoid character, and I was like, okay, you explode, and all your like bits are scattered about, and your opponent has to figure out which is the bits that will hurt you if they stab it.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so that exists within creating assist. That exists of like trying to make something flavorful for what you want to achieve and that's fun, but it's also like take everything with a grain of salt and don't worry about having to be completely on the rules when it comes to understanding the intention of your character's antagonist at that point.
For sure. It made me laugh when they came out with like the new rule set for 5e, and they were like, hey, we made a bunch of changes, and then everyone in the community went, yeah, we made them 10 years ago. And it's like, oh, but buy our book. And it's like, no. Like, so many people have been like, no, because you actually changed some things that we didn't want you to change. It's like, oh, you're never happy. And it's like, no, you just keep making bad decisions.
You just keep making me want to buy. You keep like pushing me these books you want me to buy. It's like, no.
Yeah. It's daft. I feel like that's why the sort of 5e sort of source material thing works so well, because it's like a lot of the time it just adds stuff. It just like doesn't make changes. It's just like, oh, here's more stuff that you may not have thought of yet, and it's all tidy in one book, and hopefully they've got nice artwork on the front and used humans to make it, and you're like, oh, that does look nice. I'll buy it and put it on my shelf and probably never read it. But it's like, but you've helped out the community at least. So yeah.
Speaking of helping out the community, we are nearing the end as I see my bus in the horizon. Thank you again for taking the time to chat with me. You can take this time to shout out any upcoming projects. I wonder which ones. Or series that you guys are working on.
Okay, so it's obviously Gothica Plague-Worlds, which is the 5e compatible TTRPG. It's all about plagues, diseases, and it's set in a Victorian-inspired fantasy world. So you can play as your favorite plague doctor from history, but make him all creepy and maybe like a Scaleborn, which is kind of like a Dragonborn, but a little bit, or maybe a Pestborn, which is like a rat folk person. So there's lots of scope there for fantasy creatures and races. There's actually 18 bloodlines, which they're all pretty much new. Obviously, some like are similar to old fantasy stuff, but there's a lot of like there's like 60 pages of the book just for bloodlines and races. So I think if anyone's like interested in new 5e stuff, this is going to be hopefully pretty interesting for a lot of folks. Inkbladepublishing.com and Inkblade Publishing on Instagram is where you can find me.
Look out for that Kickstarter.
Thank you. You know what? That's really handy. Depends on when this comes out. November the 1st is when the Kickstarter will drop, and it will run for the entire month. So if you're interested, have a look. You'll be able to buy a digital version or the physical copy. I'm not really fussed at the moment about tokens and badges and things. It's just the book, which means you get to play the game. That's all we're doing.
Merry Christmas. Here's a fucking book.
Where's my badges and stamps and minis? No, play with the book. Read the book. Read the book, little Timmy.
I can't read, sir.
Give me the book.
He crutches away.
I don't know. If my audience can't read, that's fine, as long as they buy it.
All right.
Hopefully they do read it. I'd love to have some feedback. That would be good. I'd like people to read it. I've worked on it for 2+ years.
All right. Well, speaking of feedback, hey, if anyone has any negative feedback about this show, I don't give a shit. I'm going to keep doing it. All right. We'll catch everyone in the next video. Bye.
Bye.